Hello. Alright, so basically in this video I'm just going to show you how to use an if statement and also an if else statement. Okay, so I was thinking about ideas about creating this video. I was like, I'll just take one of the examples that I saw in one of your projects. So let's go ahead and create something just to show you. First I'll start off with how the if statement works, if you're wondering. Okay, so we'll just start off basic, right? Let's say when the green flag is clicked, we want this to do something. Let's say we want the cat to ask us something. Let's see. Let's say we wanted to ask us something like this. Do you have a croissant? Okay. And basically, you can use this thing called an if statement. Okay, so we go to the control blocks here. We can reach the if statement, and we can make it say certain things. So let's say, if we have a croissant, then that's good. We want something to happen, right? So basically, what we can do is we can go to the operators here. And then I go ahead and scroll all the way to, here I can use this one. So let's say we use our answer. So our answer is going to be, so the sensing box here. So let's say our answer is yes, right? So, we want something to happen if we have a croissant, right? And then if we go ahead and put a little script in here, we can make it say something. So we can make this cat say something like, stop. You could have dropped my croissant. Yeah. All right. Let's see if this works. So basically, just as a recap, what I did was, so when I press the green flag, then the sprite is going to ask if I have a croissant. Okay. And basically, what this if statement says, like, well, if I do have a croissant, then say, stop. You could have dropped my croissant. Okay. So let's see if that works. Do you have a croissant? Okay. So let's go and type in yes. Stop. You could have dropped my croissant. Yep. So it is working the way that I want it to work. Cool. All right. So next I want to show you, right? If you think of this program, right? I could type anything. If I type anything, I don't have any phrase here, right? No matter what I press, if I just type anything here, nothing's gonna happen, right? Because we didn't tell the program to go say anything afterward, right? I can just type anything. So let's go ahead and fix that. So we can fix that, if you're wondering, by using an if else statement, right? So what we're doing is, well, if the answer is yes, then say stop, you could have dropped this croissant. But if you type anything else, maybe you want the sprite to say something like, please answer my question, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a whole different program. So I'm gonna make it respond to the space key. Okay, so if I make it respond to the space key, I'm gonna duplicate this so I don't have to type it all. Actually, well, this part here, I'm gonna need the if else. Okay, so if you're wondering what I went to the control block, and then I go to this if else. So I'm gonna just drag some of these things here and here, and let's see. And then we said what we wanted it to say was, please answer my question. Okay. Please answer my question. Right? So basically, if I run this here, if I press the space bar, so it says, do you have a croissant? So basically, if we do have a croissant, then he's gonna say, stop, you could have dropped my croissant. But all other responses, he's going to say, please answer my question. So let's see if that works. So I'm gonna press the space bar. Do you have a croissant? And I like how in Scratch, if you put yes here, it doesn't matter if I put like yes or like yes, it should still work. Let's try that. So yes, and then, so he says, stop, you could have dropped my croissant. And then let's say I were to go ahead and press it one more time and just check it. Do you have a croissant? And let's say I just type anything. See if I just type anything here, this means that, well, this expression here, if answer equals to yes, so this, if this is a true statement, it's going to run this line of code. But if this Boolean value evaluates to false, right? So this hexagon evaluates to false, then what's going to happen is it's going to go ahead and say the next line there, which says, please answer my question. So if I press enter, please answer my question. Isn't that so cool? Yeah. So yeah, so that is basically how you would use an if else statement. Okay. Now I want to show you something interesting. So let's say I go ahead and create something similar. Let's say create something similar here. So actually, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate. Actually, no, I'm just going to redo it. So, and then let's say I use like the left arrow this time. And then I just type in all these things. Yeah, so say, do you have a croissant? And then I want to show you what happens if you use like a if statement. I wonder if I can just copy the inside here. Oh, okay. I probably could have, but I'm just whatever. Okay. Yes. Answer would go here. And I'll just duplicate this. And I'll duplicate this. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, just get my point across. I'm going to pause this video and then continue where we left off. Okay, bye. Hello. Alright, so basically what I want to do is I want to show you the difference between these two programs if I run them. If I have the space arrow, if I run it with the space arrow, if I run it with the left arrow. Okay, so what I showed you earlier, right? I showed you how this one works. Let's go ahead and run this one on here. So if I press the left arrow here, and then basically and then the sprite's gonna ask, do I have a croissant? So basically, if you're reading this code here, it's gonna say, well, if I do have a croissant, then it's gonna say, stop, you could have dropped my croissant. And no matter if this is true or false, then the next line of code is going to happen anyway. So if I put in yes here, right, he's gonna say, stop, you could have dropped my croissant. And he's also gonna say, please answer my question. So yeah, stop, you could have dropped my croissant, please answer my question. But you see I answered his question, right? I have a croissant, but see, I answered his question, so this doesn't really make sense. So there's situational. There's times where you might use something like this in the program, and there's some times when you might use something like this. In this context, though, for this it wouldn't make sense. You probably wouldn't use something like this. But I also want to show you, if I also press the left arrow, like basically if I just type anything, like I've showed you earlier, if I just type anything, basically what's going to happen is this Boolean value is going to evaluate to false because it's not yes, right? So it's just going to be false, and then afterward, then no matter what, he's going to say, please answer my question. So there's a difference between the two. So if I show you the space one again, so do you have a croissant? If I say yes, then he's going to say, stop, you could have dropped my croissant. Yeah. But then in the other case, right, if I press the space bar, do you have a croissant? And then if I go ahead and type anything, then he's going to say, please answer my question. So the difference between this and this one is basically if the answer is yes, then he's just going to say this statement. He's not going to say the statement after. Yeah, because it's not underneath. Okay, so that's basically how that works. So it's important to try to understand the difference between those. Okay, so what we can do, so what we've done so far, if you're wondering, is we've created situations. We've created situations so far where, like, well, if you have a croissant, you want it to say yes, right? But some of you might be wondering in the video, like, Mr. Chang, what is a cat? What if you what do you say no? And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, you want something to happen if you say don't have a croissant, right? So, let's go ahead and just modify this just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this, and then I'm going to go ahead and change this. Let's see, what did we use? We used here the left arrow. Let's use the up arrow. So use the up arrow this time. I'm going to go ahead and delete this here. Okay, so this, what I'm going to show you is an example of when you would use an if-else statement inside an else statement. So an if-else statement inside an else statement. So what we have here, so if we press up arrow, it says, do you have a croissant? And then if you say yes, then stop, you could drop my croissant. But now what we want to do is we want to make this better. We want to say something like, well, what if our answer is no, right? So let's go ahead and go do our control block, and let's go ahead and do another if-else statement. So I'm going to put that right there. Okay, so let's consider that case. I'm going to go to operators and then use this one here. So if the answer is no, right? So basically, if the answer is no here, we want it to say something. Let's just say get a croissant. Get a croissant. Right? And then the other thing that also otherwise, so we also wanted to say like, oh, please answer my question if you haven't answered the question, right? So let's go ahead and trace this. Okay, so basically when I press up arrow, this says, do I have a croissant? And if the answer is yes, then it's going to stop and say, stop. Basically the program is going to stop and say, stop, you could have dropped my croissant. If the answer is not yes, then it's going to run the else statement here, which says that, well, if you answer no, then it's going to say, get a croissant. Otherwise, you want it to answer your question. Okay, so let's go ahead and play around with this. Okay, do you have a croissant? And let's say I put yes, right? So it said, stop, you could have dropped my croissant. And that's how it ends. Okay, let's see here. So then if I try it now, so let's say, do you have a croissant? And basically, if I say no, again, what's going to happen is this top expression, this is going to be false. So because this is false, it's going to run the else statement. And the else statement basically says, well, if the answer is no, he's going to say, get a croissant. Get a croissant. And let's try the other case. So, do you have a croissant? If I just type anything here, right, what's going to happen is basically, the answer is not yes, so it's not going to run this, and then it's going to go to the else statement, and basically, if we go here, so it says, well, the answer is not no either, so he should say, please answer my question. Yeah, isn't that so cool? I have a croissant. Stop, you could have dropped my croissant. I don't have a croissant. Get a croissant. And do you have a croissant? Blah, 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 blah. Please answer my question. Yeah. So, that is kind of how you would use something like that. Okay. I'm going to continue where I left off in the next video. Okay, bye. Hello. Alright, so let's try to summarize all these different little cases that we created here. Yeah, because I know that if some of you are just kind of looking at my videos and just kind of figuring it out, just like, oh well, if I come back to this, what did Mr. Chang even show us? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a comment here. Okay, and basically this, if you're wondering, so this line of code, this is basically your tells you how an if statement works. So think about something like that. This line of code shows how to use an if statement. So just an if statement. So it doesn't have an else statement, just this line of code shows how to use an if statement. All right, cool. Let's see. So we also dealt with some of these. I'm gonna make some space here. Okay, so we have this one, right? So this line of code here. So this is your if else statement. So let's go ahead and check that out. This line of code shows how to use an if else statement. All right. Now, we have this one, right? We went over this one. So this one is an interesting case. So I'll go ahead and type that out for you. So basically, if you're wondering, so let's see. So this line of code shows that if the answer is yes, say the following phrase, which is stop, you could have dropped my croissant, and then proceed by saying please answer my question. So basically, as you saw earlier, it says, well, if this is true, no matter what, it's going to run this on the bottom. And even like if it wasn't true, then it just go say please answer my question. So yeah, for all other responses, it will just say please answer my question. Right. Let's see, let's put that a little bit. Yeah. All right. And the last one here. Yeah, so if you're wondering, what we did for this one is we used an if-else statement inside an else statement. So we can go ahead and write a comment here. This basically says this line of code shows how to use an if-else statement inside an else statement. Yep. So I'll show you all of these again if you need to look if you needed to look at it. So yeah, first example, this line of code shows how to use an if statement. This one, this line of code shows how to use an if else statement. And if we go here, this one says yeah, this line of code shows if the answer is yes, then say this phrase, yeah, then proceed by saying please answer my question. And for all the responses, yeah, besides yes, then it'll just say please answer my question. Yep. And if I come all the way down here, yep, so this line of code here, yeah, so it says how to use an if else statement inside this else statement. Yes. All right, so that is how you would comment on that if you wanted to comment on it. All right, so but anyway, the basic gist of this week, if you're wondering, so just show me that you can use one of these statements. It would be cool if you did all of them. And I'm sure some of you will probably do all of them. And I'll be very happy if you do. But just for the sake of time, I understand it's like the end of the quarter, right? So, and I'm sure some of you are very happy with your grade at the moment. So, yeah, so I'll let you choose. You can choose to use either an if statement, something like this. If you wanted to, you could choose to do an if else statement, something like this. You could even do something like an if else statement inside an else statement, or even something like this. It is entirely up to you. All right. With that being said, that is basically it. Woohoo! And that is the last video of quarter one. Quarter two will begin soon. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later. Okay, bye.